The goddess of love, Venus, squares the god of war, Mars, on Thursday, August 22nd, bringing battles of the sexes, dramatic exchanges, and passionate encounters. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you enjoy my work, please take a few seconds of your time to show your support by leaving a like or a comment, subscribing, and pressing the notification bell. Watch another one of my videos or say thank you by buying me a coffee. Anything you do to support me really helps. It promotes my channel's growth, brings more attention my way, and I really appreciate that. Before we dive in, for those of you looking for a personal consultation, you have important questions you want answered, and you want me to look at your chart exactly to provide the most precise prediction, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. There are a couple of durations, a couple of types of readings, etc. Everything can be found on my website. And on my website, you can also find a variety of candles and oils. I work with astrology in an active way, knowing that just like each person reflects the qualities of the time they were born, so do objects. So I elect the time that is especially benevolent, and I create candles and oils that carry the properties of that moment. In this video, I'd like to highlight my beautiful green Exalted Venus candle. The oils and the candles capture the lovely Venus in Pisces, Venus in the sign of exaltation, very romantic, very forgiving, very understanding and inspired. This is perfect for any artist out there, for any content creator, for any lover, right? If you're looking to improve your relationships and make yourself feel more at ease in the company of other people, help yourself attract the perfect partner, and even honestly improve relationships that are not romantic, this could be great. Highly recommend this for transits like this. We have Venus going retrograde next year, early next year. And for those born with their Venus in the sign of fall or detriment, Virgo, Scorpio, or Aries, Venus in the dark house, 6th, 8th, or 12th, Venus retrograde, or Venus in a square or opposition to Mars, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. Venus conjunct Chiron is another one. Definitely check it out. I also have other candles, for example, Venus in Libra 2 is really beautiful and could be the better choice for Libra risings, Aquarius, Gemini's risings, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries risings. So thank you for listening. Let's talk about Venus squaring Mars. So I did a video on Venus forming a T-square with Saturn and Jupiter. Definitely check that video out because that will give you a bit of an understanding of where we're at. But here we're talking about Venus squaring Mars, and the exact day of this aspect is August 22nd. But we feel it from August 17th until August 27th. And that is the case because Venus and Mars are moving at quite similar speeds. So it takes about, 5 days on each side for us to feel the effects. So we start to feel the effects from Saturday, August 17th, and then they last all the way until Tuesday, August 27th. And the exact square happens at 22 degrees. Venus is at 22 degrees Virgo and Mars is at 22 degrees Gemini. And so it might affect you if you have placements within it 19 to 25 degrees, mutable placements. Those are Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Definitely circle this one as it might be felt by you stronger. So in order to understand Venus in a square to Mars, we got to understand what is Venus, what is Mars, and what is a square. Venus is the goddess of love and beauty. She has long been connected to Aphrodite. She's charming, she is attractive, she is joyful, she enjoys life, has a good time, and thrives for aims to create connection wherever she goes, right? Mars is all about severing and separating. Mars is the god of war. Mars is a fighter. You can think of these as very feminine versus masculine archetypes, right? Like with Venus being, but at the same time, Venus doesn't like to be tamed. She doesn't necessarily want to be a parent like the moon might, right? Venus is a lot more about enjoying life. And that's where Venus and Mars actually have things in common, right? Because Venus represents attraction and Mars represents desire. And so when the two are in accord, there are a lot of sparks. When the two are in conflict, there's still some sparks. A square represents a conflict, so this aspect definitely has the nature of tension. But it can still be resolved through passionate lovemaking or through some airing of the problems, through like talking things out potentially. So Venus and Mars, you know, even the fact that Mars is connected to Aries and Venus is connected to Aphrodite has been part of the like Greco-Roman myth. Venus, like Aphrodite and Aries, they have a very passionate relationship. They fight and they hate each other, and then they make up, they make love, and sort of it's like either they fight or they have sex, basically. So this is, to sum up, this is the nature of this transit, right? It either brings tension, strife, friction, or it brings increased sex drive and passion. And sometimes those two are not contradictory. You can have a fight and then the fight results in some passionate sparks, right? So this transit might highlight tensions between men and women. It might be, you know, the time when you're feeling that your boss is acting too aggressive, especially if you guys are of opposite genders. Tensions between masculine and feminine, tension between going and taking action versus staying back and maybe protecting what you've got. So like internal tension. Tension even sometimes between women that sort of represent the opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, you know, a woman who is stay-at-home mom versus like a traditionally career-driven woman, maybe getting in fights or some type of like difficulties there. So in a healthy relationship, you may have some kind of buildup of frustration and then maybe express it through having sex or express it through talking things out with a bit of a passion. In a difficult relationship, it can bring like sort of anger, wrath without control, right? Maybe like more impulsiveness, build up your impatience, build up your aggression. So it can sort of result in these like dramatic exchanges. So definitely watch out, try to stay grounded, avoid, you know, losing your patience and screaming at people who have nothing to do with what you are worried about. Find healthy ways of expressing your frustration, like, you know, going for an exercise. I've mentioned making love if you have someone to do it with. If you're by yourself, you know, do it by yourself. But like, yeah, like, you know, sort of exercise, competition. This could be like a really great time to compete. Creative self-expression, like something that is like dance, something that's creative but also active. Beauty, maybe you like tear up some clothes, Mars, and make them into new clothes, Venus. The important thing to note here is that both of these planets are ruled by Mercury retrograde in Leo. So with Mercury retrograde in Leo, the focus is very strong on me, mine, my recognition, my sort of visibility, and me being appreciated and understood, right? So a lot of these conflicts can be coming from a sense of like, you know, maybe I don't feel heard or like I don't feel supported, and so I end up lashing out. So try not to do that. Try to lean into like the Mercury retrograde. Let's instead take a step back and talk things out instead of like fighting with each other. So let's take a look and describe it for each rising sign. As always, if you're looking for a personal reading that has a lot more information specific to you, book one on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. You can also pick up a subscription and get monthly horoscopes sent to you at the start of every month and weekly breakdowns at the start of every week. So starting with Aries rising, we have Mars in the 3rd house squaring Venus in the 6th. And here you're running into an issue of like going too fast, trying to do too much, taking on too many things, helping siblings, sort of like affecting your peace and well-being, right? Venus in the 6th wants to organize things, wants to be perfect, and you are Mars, and your partner, for example, is Venus, because Venus rules your house of relationships. So it might be that you are feeling like go, 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 take action, let's get there faster. And then Venus is your partner or your colleague or even your accountant or someone, and they're taking their time, they're like seeking perfection. And then you run into a battle of like, let's just get it done, let's do it faster. Do not rush things, right? Try to take it slow. Mars in the 3rd can like drive too fast, get too inflamed too easily. So try to keep your cool, calm, keep your cool and calm. Watch out for miscommunications with coworkers. Watch out for like rushing places and like hurting yourself, and being too direct, being sort of like very direct in the way you express yourself might hurt other people's feelings. So beware of that too. If you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, AnastasiaDoesAstrology.com. We can talk about your natal chart, your year coming up, and more. If you are a Taurus rising, Venus in the 5th house will square Mars in the 2nd. And here you're dealing with some kind of disagreements involving money. Mars in the 2nd might be a partner, because Mars rules your house of relationships, spending money. A partner being sort of a little bit maybe too forceful and too impulsive when it comes to their decisions. And you being Venus in the 5th, a lot of your focus right now might be on becoming a parent, on your child, on creative self-expression, on pleasure. And so having to address these different attitudes towards things is quite likely. Maybe some kind of conflict around resources, around your partner's spending habits. Even honestly with Venus in the 5th, even like issues around habits and sort of habits involving pleasure and habits involving a good time might come up at this time too. So yeah, I can, but Venus in the 5th house and Mars in the 2nd can also result in like a lot of passion, because it's Venus literally in her house joy, in the house of pleasure. So maybe you can find a way to like express that Venusian need for Venus and Virgo specifically, that needs to be organized. Mars in the 2nd being more impulsive. Maybe you like, I don't know, maybe you throw things in the air and then you organize them together or something like that. Watch out for being too competitive. Watch out for being too impulsive when it comes to finances. Watch out for taking unnecessary risks, because that may result in conflicts and drama. Please share how this resonates. And if you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, AnastasiaDoesAstrology.com. For Gemini risings, Mars in the 1st house squares Venus in the 4th. And you may run into an issue of your honesty and your directness ruffling some feathers. And sometimes they need to be ruffled. Mars in the 1st, it rules your 6th house, rules your 11th house. There might be something that you're like working on that you need to speak up about. There might be some passion project that you've been investing into. Even honestly, like being the person who brings attention to something that's not quite working out. Like maybe your family members have been trying to like, I don't know, build a house, and you look at them doing it and you're like, this is not going to work because you need to do ABC. And so you speak up, and that may result in some kind of tensions in the family. Venus in the 4th suggests that you kind of are trying to spend time with family. You're trying to be a diplomat. You're trying to get along and make other people get along. But like, once again, with Mars in the 1st, it's almost like you have to go through conflict before you get to peace, right? You have to sort of address some tensions. You have to talk honestly about things First, I'm here, I'm just writing something down. So yeah, like you know, I think with Mars in the first, you have to be the disruptor on some levels. You have to be the one who speaks up, who addresses things, and try to do it as peacefully as possible. Try to think about other people's feelings, which I'm sure as a skillful master of communication you can. But don't be afraid to shake things up a little bit. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you need to. If you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the lovely Cancer risings, Venus in the 3rd house will square Mars in the 12th house. And here you're dealing with tension between your everyday life, your need for sort of pleasant communication, your need for connection with siblings, your connection with other people, and Mars in the 12th just kind of wanting to take action. Mars in the 12th might encourage you to work alone, might encourage you to pursue sort of spiritual practices, want to get away, want to even heal something that you've been working on. Mars in the 12th is very, you know, it can fight battles that are more sublime, that are more hidden, that are more private. So here, I think with Mars in the 12th house, you're balancing, you're dealing with a bit of a tension of like what you're driven to do versus what you kind of have to do in order to maintain peace. And there might be a bit of a tension. There might be conflicts with siblings. There might be conflicts with neighbors. There might be issues surrounding like logistical matters. Watch out for driving too fast, because like I can also see this resulting into like accidents if you are rushing places. I also wonder here if this is the time when the anger you've been suppressing, the anger you've been trying not to notice comes up. Because this is quite literally Mars in the 12th, something hidden, buried, something unaddressed, coming to your face and like making you deal with it. And Venus rules your 4th house of home and family. So it might be about home and family. Mars rules the 5th house and the 10th. It might be about parenthood, might be about career. So a lot of possibilities here. And of course, you need to process the anger. You need to deal with feelings. It's better to express them than suppress them. But try to be mindful of other people and try not to hurt them with your wrath. If you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd be happy to look at your chart, analyze your year to come, or talk about your relationship. If you are the beautiful Leo rising, Mars in the 11th house will square Venus in the 2nd, or rather Venus in the 2nd will square Mars in the 11th. And here you're looking at what you want to spend on and what you value versus what other people value, what other people care about. Mars in the 11th might also suggest that you're finding yourself in a position of a leader, you're guiding other people, you're maybe getting your friends to do something, organizing some kind of get-together. And then the square to Venus in the 2nd, like you might end up being the one who pays for everything, or you might run into some type of challenge involving people owing you things, right? Like people disagreeing with you on some level. So some kind of issues with friends, issues in the group context, issues with your colleagues, even potentially involving finances or involving values are quite likely here. And of course, you know, the invitation is to be honest and open about how you're feeling, sharing your thoughts. Beware of overspending. Beware of like kind of going with Mars. Mars can be like really impulsive and tell you, yeah, let's go party, let's go have fun. But then Venus in the 2nd might get frustrated because maybe you've been saving money to pay off a debt or something. So a lot of important financial questions are coming up here. Please share how this resonates, and if you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the lovely Virgo rising, Mars in the 10th house gets into it with Venus in the 1st. And I see this as like conflict with your boss. Maybe you are trying to figure things out. You're trying to get along with other people. And then Mars in the 10th is just like a boss being aggressive and being too obnoxious and in your face and sort of creating a sense of frustration. There might also be inner tension between your like desire right now to be perceived a certain way and to be liked and your professional goals, because on some level, like, you know, like maybe there's an opportunity that requires you to speak up and stand up for yourself and be like, I can handle it. But with Venus in the 1st, you're almost like holding back and thinking that maybe you need to let someone else take care of it. So inner tension, outer tension with bosses, parents, people in power might result in some kind of the situation bursting into the open. Maybe there is some sexual tension if you are involved with someone you're working with. Could be. Please share how this resonates, and if you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the lovely Libra rising, Venus in the 12th house will square Mars in the 9th. And this could be a very sort of cathartic and spiritual, because Venus in the 12th, she is currently encouraging you to connect with your spirituality, to escape, to heal, to maybe retreat, take a step back. And then Mars in the 9th house is almost like something bursts into the open, some type of conflict, some type of like someone tells you something and you're like, no, this is not right. Or you hear of something. And there might be an opportunity to review your beliefs, to maybe even realize how you're being self-defeating, how you're being self-destructive. Mars in the 9th might bring up questions surrounding education, expansion, growth, travel, writing, and then square to Venus in the 12th, perhaps your tendency to hold yourself back and not go after things you want. So it's an interesting one because it can be quite disruptive, I think, to your plans, if you had any plans to like relax and have alone time. And the disruptions might be coming from the realm of education, a teacher giving you additional assignment, or a legal matter coming to haunt you. But it can also be a disruption in the shape of like a conflict or an ideological debate or some type of like a realization, right? Like a book you read, a conversation you hear, person you meet, like a foreigner you meet. And of course, Venus rules you and Mars rules the partner. So it can also be about battles, very literal battles between you and your partner, maybe some kind of ideological disagreement that results in passionate lovemaking. I wish that for you. Please share how this resonates. And if you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you are the lovely Scorpio rising, Venus in the 11th will square Mars in the 8th house. And here you're dealing with the tensions involving money, the tensions involving values. Mars in the 8th might have a very strong opinion about what is worth spending on. It might be you having a strong opinion, or it might be your partner having a strong opinion. There might be a tendency to overspend with this aspect. There might be a bit of a devil-may-care attitude and maybe like an urgency to spending or investing or taking action of some sort that then disrupts your relationship or disrupts your partner's resources somehow. Even like, let's say if you are in a marriage and you spend money that is your sort of together money versus just your money. So yeah, watch out for reckless decisions. Watch out for disagreements with friends around resources. Watch out for spending without thought, and some type of like tensions in a relationship involving values, conflicts of values, conflicts around money are possible. If you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you are the lovely Sagittarius rising, Venus in your 10th house will square Mars in the 7th house. And here there is some type of contradiction between what you're trying to accomplish professionally with Venus in the 10th. Venus in the 10th wants people to get along. She's trying to be seen as a peacemaker, as a diplomat. And then the square to Mars suggests that maybe something is happening in your relationship that disrupts that. You literally get in a fight with your partner about how much you work or what they think about your job. Maybe they don't quite approve of what you do for a living. And then you have to deal with that, right? Like you have to deal with some kind of conflict involving that. Maybe there is a bit of a tension. There's tension between what you're trying to accomplish on your own versus what your business partner wants to do, or your like everyday job and your business. I can also see this quite literally as like, you know, whatever is happening in relationship affecting your peace. And maybe it's like a small fight you have in a relationship. But anything from having a small fight to having like a bigger disagreement around values, resources, goals are all possible here. If you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd be happy to look at your natal chart, your relationship, or your year to come. If you are a Capricorn rising, Mars in the 6th house will square Venus in your 9th house. And here you're running into an issue of like disruption to your travel plans, disruption to your vacation fling, disruption to your writing or publishing plans, to your education that comes from the realm of work, the realm of health, the realm of just like some kind of roadblocks affecting your life, your plans. You know, Venus in the 9th really wants to grow. She wants to study, she wants to explore new things. And then Mars in the 6th says, no, you have all these things you have to handle. You have a health matter you need to attend to. You have a difficult work project due. You have a colleague that is affecting your peace of mind by sending you a ton of emails while you're on vacation. So a lot of frustrations can be building around this time. Try to avoid bursting and screaming out scream into the open, into the void for sure, but don't scream at people that are close to you and will get hurt by that outburst. Try to just be mindful and maybe look for a way to have a better flow through your everyday life. Please share how this resonates. Have you already been feeling any tensions? And if you're looking for more, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the lovely Aquarius risings, Mars in the 5th house will square Venus in the 8th. And you may be dealing with some tensions involving money, involving your agreements with your significant other, like, you know, sort of simple things that have to do with cleaning the house, doing laundry, or spending on certain things. Like if you've been trying to act like nothing is bothering you and you're okay with the way things are, this could be the time it bursts out into the open and results in some conflict or drama. There might also be a little bit of tension between what you're trying to accomplish creatively and what you're working on in terms of parenthood, or, you know, your child having certain needs and the resources you have available. The resources that are sort of free-flowing, and maybe a little bit of like inner frustration out of a sense that your money keeps going elsewhere and not where you want it to go. Disagreements around values involving parenthood or values involving spendings that you're addressing with your significant other. Even like Venus rules your 4th house of home, family, real estate, and Mars rules your 3rd house of communication, right? So maybe there's something that's not being said surrounding home, family, and real estate, and this conflict brings it to a head. That being said, this can also be a very like you get in a fight and you realize something about yourself and your partner and it brings you closer. because both 8th house and 5th house are very sort of, 5th house is very sexual, 8th house is very deep and personal. So getting closer, transforming together, healing things together is another possibility. Finally, if you are the lovely Pisces rising, Mars in your 4th house will get in a square with Venus in the 7th. And here you're looking at tensions with your tensions in a relationship involving home, family, real estate. Maybe you and your partner disagree on what kind of home you want to buy and you get in a fight about that. Maybe there is some type of drama involving their family or drama involving your family. Like your partner doesn't approve of your relationship with your mother and you need to navigate that. They say something at like a family dinner and you get in a fight with them. Or some kind of matter happening in the home takes a lot of your attention, and then your partner feels neglected and sort of expresses it. So very much, you know, tensions between being receptive also and being assertive, taking action and sort of taking a step back. I can see here you may feel like your partner doesn't quite understand where you're coming from. And of course, you know, Mars and Venus are both ruled by Mercury retrograde, so try to talk things out. Be okay if you don't quite understand each other off the bat. Mercury is retrograde, but if you are patient and honest and open, you may end up healing something. Like if you're single, this might very much be about how is your family, how are your ties to the past, how are your childhood wounds affecting your romantic life, and what can you address before you start a new relationship potentially. Please share how this resonates, and if you're looking for more, book a reading on my website. I hope you found this video helpful and useful, and hopefully the sound of the outside wasn't too bad. I will appreciate any comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is a good time. And I will talk to you in the next video very, very soon. Have a great August. We are in the middle of August at this point, but I hope you're enjoying your August. Talk to you soon. Bye.